Hi everyone. You are in a small town of a small country in Eurasia. I cannot mention the name of city considering my safe security. So, welcome again and let's not to tell my name. Tell me, Mr. X. I understand that I hide much information from you, but it is done so to keep my life safe, as I know information which is very serious and which can shock everyone. So I will start from the very beginning. I lived in London for a long time. I went there with my father when I was only 14. Before that, I lived in Estonia. I don't know have you ever listened about that country or not. As I have already mentioned, I live in London from the age of 14, but my accent still is not proper. I don't have British accent, as you can hear. In London I got high education, then I found a good job, and I stayed there. Now I live in another city. It is safer for me. I worked in a secret laboratory which was situated in the cellar of the central laboratory. In London there was no place where one could have a laboratory secretly and not to be noticed. The name of our laboratory was Globus. The financial part was under control of government. But why? The answer you will get later. When I say cellar floor, you imagine a little wet area where are some equipments, techniques and materials. I will disappoint you. You are not right. It was a large area, big laboratory which was under the ground about 20-30 meters. In order to get there, you should go down by stairs. There was no elevator. The laboratory had 40 rooms. Each of them had its own meaning. Many experiments were done in each room. In one of them, the hybridization of animals were doing. A thought understanding machine was making in another room. In the third room, the teleport machine was working. The experiments were very different and interesting. Some of them were made in order to take humans' life easier. Some of them were made to be used in military purposes. Because of that, the security of the laboratory was very strong. In one of the rooms was a piece of stone. It was said that the stone was brought in another galactic. It was a piece of asteroid. This means that the life existed in that galactic. I have worked in that laboratory 15 years. I saw such things about which you cannot even imagine. But all that equipment's worth nothing. I saw a machine which can shock everyone. The name of that machine was Time Queen, which was situated in the largest room. Only few scientists can enter that room. The machine had some parts. It occupied whole room. There was a big chair in the center of the room. Many cables were connected to it. The chair was iron. I know many stories about people who traveled through the time. I believe in ApexTV videos because I know all that stories. I feel all that in my life. But my story is very different. Time Queen was the most powerful machine. It can take you both to the future and past, in every part of the earth. The most important part in that machine was the piece of asteroid, which had a radiation background. The radiation of uranium is even weaker. The power of that stone has such energy we can destroy the whole planet. Fortunately, that energy only can be used in laboratory. Otherwise, the planet could be already destroyed. That energy can crack the time borders. We can add smart computers to that energy and get an algorithm which transform the time to the mathematics, and this led us to travel through the time. Also, I would like to mention that this was the project of USA, Russia and Britain. Otherwise, Britain will use it in its own purposes. It will enlarge its areas. Just imagine tanks and helicopters during the war between England and Scotland. By the way, nowadays Britain is bigger because it enlarged its area by the help of that machine. Of course, it was done after discussion with two countries. Russia changed something in Russian-Turkish war. The city Krasnodar belonged to Turkey, but Russia took it. And Arizona and California belonged to the Mexico. Now there are parts of USA. All these were done by the help of that magic machine. Now I pass to the most interesting part of this story. 10 years I worked as an operator of that project. The producer and head of that project was a Russian man, Andrei Pupkin. Many scientists, archaeologists and soldiers were sent to the different parts of time to bring interesting facts. The farther time interval was 4,000 years. Many people could not return as the interval was more than 4,000 years. We had forbidden time periods. For example, in the period when Jesus lived, we couldn't travel. The Catholic Church forbade. They told that even one meeting with him could change the whole history. Friendly speaking, it was said that many changes were done in the World War, and Germany did not lose the victory. France, Ukraine, Denmark, Austria and part of Poland was under its control. Of course, the war was suspended. Let me tell that many techniques were sent to help Europe to win Germany. So let's pass to the most interesting part of my traveling. So, after being operated 10 years, I was suggested to create a squad which would go to the past and bring information about different things. The name of it was Flying Saucer. Also, there was a squad which went to the future named Phantom. Our squad even was the Crusades. In each traveling, we wore similar clothes and accessories, lens, which were recording videos. Unfortunately, I don't have opportunity to show them as I already don't work in that laboratory. Even while I'm working, I couldn't as it was confidential. The most important accessory was the ring. which was a watch. It was necessary to us as we should feel the time to return and not to be damaged. In watch it was written, made in Switzerland. As there were simple watches bought in Swiss brands. Now, the most shocking things. Look at this picture. This was that watch. It is just that watch that I had lost in China in 16th, 17th centuries. I was running at that time from Chinese soldiers. A few months ago, this watch was found in soldier's tomb. I think while I was running, he found and took it. Scientists were shocked. That watch was first made in 20th century. But it was found in the tomb, which is 400 years old. Do you understand? In the 21st century, they found the ring which lay there for 400 years. It is impossible. How can we ignore the fact of time machine? I should say that I was removed from that laboratory when the scientists found that watch. So people started to believe that time machine existed. I attended to many expeditions in China. I was at China even at that time when China was under control of Japan. I was traveled only for scientific purposes. I didn't change anything in the history. I was even at World War time. I brought many photos for our laboratory. We were traveling by squads, and each of us had its own job. The most interesting traveling was the traveling to Old Armenia. I was present at the Armenian-Persian War. Its army was bigger, but Armenians resisted. I made photos of Armenian army and the head of it, Vartan Mamikonian. What a pity I cannot show them to you. Many interesting things happened during my travelings, but the most interesting one was my visit to China, where I lost the watch. As I have already mentioned, I went there in 16th, 17th centuries, especially at the end of 16, when the Ming Empire of China occupied the cities, didn't pay taxes, tossed out the governors. The head of them was Li Xin-chen. In 1614, they occupied Beijing. I was there at that time. You cannot imagine. It was a serious war with bloody sense. And during that war I lost my watches while running. The soldiers thought that I also was from Ming army. After, I returned back and brought accessories and clothes. Now scientists cannot understand how can be that watch made in 20th century when it has 400 years traces. It seems a serious problem because time machine was unknown for many people. When I returned, we found that I had lost the ring watch. Then I was questioned. They thought I got friends there and gave the ring as a present. When I convinced that I was innocent, they removed me from my job, and they also told me that I cannot tell this story to anybody. Otherwise, they will find me and punish. For that reason, now I ask not to show my face. So, thank you everyone for attention. I advise all people who have such stories to tell them to ApexTV.